If you own a business, you have a message and you want to get that message out. And the question is, what's the most effective way to do it, both from a cost standpoint, a time standpoint, a reach standpoint? And we have lots of options, right? We have podcasts. You're listening to a podcast right now, or you're watching this on YouTube. So as we post our podcasts on YouTube. So YouTube is another channel. And, then there's TikTok and other social media, and then there's paid advertising. Where do you go? So we're actually going to do a series on the WealthAbility Show. And today we're going to start with the king of YouTube, Evan Carmichael, who's been on our show before. You've seen him on the WealthAbility Show before. And Evan, it's really quite an honor to have you back.
Well, thanks, Tom. Great intro. Appreciate you. And yeah, lots happened in the past couple of years. So great to be back.
Yeah. So let's start with, first of all, can you just start with what YouTube is and what it isn't? Because I do think there's some confusion out there. Some people call it social media. Other people say, no, it's not social media. What is it and what isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think of YouTube really as social media, mostly because you're not really that social on there. People don't go to YouTube
To interact.
Yeah, I mean, there's some comments, and most people don't leave comments. There's no DMs. You're not messaging people. It's not really a social platform, at least in my, like I only deal with entrepreneurs. We're trying to grow our businesses. It's not just about getting viral dance videos to take off or slime challenges or whatever. So like, how do we grow a business? And where YouTube is the best, at least in this world, is with education. And so like whatever you are selling, you have to put education in front of it. And YouTube is the place where people go to learn about things. And so like if trust really matters in your business, in some industries is more important than others. But for the most part, as entrepreneurs, telling your story and building trust matters. And to be able to do that at scale is really important. And people will go to the short form platforms for inspiration, for entertainment. And I love short form too. I got 1.5 million followers on TikTok. Like I love short form as well. It just serves a different purpose. So inspiration, entertainment is short form. Trust, clients, and education is long form. And that would be YouTube at the top.
So one of the social media platforms that we think about as business owners a lot is LinkedIn. So how do you see, because LinkedIn does have a lot of business, a lot of business videos. How do you see LinkedIn and YouTube? How do you differentiate YouTube from LinkedIn from that standpoint?
Well, YouTube is a lot more consumption than LinkedIn. And what I try to look at it as, if you just make YouTube videos long form, that allows you to be everywhere. So like this video that you're doing now, you can turn into a podcast, which you've already done. You can take elements of it and turn it into different LinkedIn. We might have 4 LinkedIn articles just from this video. You can have 30 different clips that become shorts. That could be TikTok, it could be Instagram Reels, can be Facebook Reels, can be YouTube Shorts. And so, again, I deal with busy entrepreneurs. We only work with people who are busy trying to grow their business. You don't have all the time in the world just being an influencer and waste time on social media. So trying to do a bunch of different things across all the different platforms while you're also trying to grow and build a business, it's not possible. So start with YouTube long form at the top, showcase your expertise, assuming you have expertise, right? Like this only works if you actually have a deep well of knowledge and know what you're talking about. Because to make an hour-long video on something when you are not an expert is really, really hard. So I don't know how to help you in that case, like get better at the thing. But that allows you to be on every single platform, not necessarily you, but like team can then take it. So I love LinkedIn. I think it's great, especially for what you're selling. If you're selling to business owners, LinkedIn is a fantastic, I wouldn't put it above YouTube, but it's still a solid podcast. LinkedIn number 2 that's a toughie. But the good news is you could be on all of them just because you have your long form content from YouTube that then gets cut up for the different platforms.
Got it. So when you keep saying long form, and my question always is, how long is long? So if you were, so you coach business owners all the time. We were talking about the event you have coming up in Arizona, in my backyard in a couple of weeks, and you're teaching business owners how to do YouTube. So let's start with that. When you think of long form, are you talking about long being 5 minutes, long being 5 hours? Somewhere in
Uh,
between, I presume.
yeah, yeah. So 10 to 15 minutes minimum, and really no maximum. Like we've done 5 hour videos that crush. It just depends on like if you were going to do a master class and take 2.5 hours to go through some topics, that could do extremely well, both in terms of like it ranking well and doing well, but also in terms of you, whatever the goal is, sell more books, grow the practice, etc. Because the longer somebody's spending with you, the more like trust factors being built up. Even if you have no idea who they are, they now recognize you like, oh, Tom is the guy. And they're much more likely to take the next step. But long form videos in the hours also do extremely well. You can go to any channel, again, inside our category. Go to whoever you think is doing really well. I mean, there aren't that many accountants who have, I try to think of like a 1 million subscriber accountant channel. But if you want to go to any of the people in our space and then just look at their most popular videos, you'll see a bunch of them are incredibly long. I mean, Rogan blew up his podcast with 4 hour videos. Now, it doesn't mean every video has to be that long, but 10 to 15 minutes at a minimum. And we can go through how to make a video if that is helpful, but really no maximum past hooking them. Because people then say, well, how do I get somebody to watch? Nobody's going to want to watch 2 hour video on accounting. Well, like, yes, they are if you can hook them because they're trying to learn. But the
Right.
short attention span.
I mean, weirdly enough, I teach a 3-day class that people come to, and we fill it every single time. So
People want to learn,
they
right?
do.
And so, but the first minute really matters. So we have to learn how to capture their attention. If you can keep them for the first minute, a good chunk of them stay for like the whole video. But the biggest problem is capturing their attention in the first minute. But I'd say 10 to 15 minutes at a minimum. And the advantage that someone like you have, and I assume a lot of your audience, is that you have such a deep well of knowledge that you can go longer in a video without it being like you're running out of things to say or examples because like you don't know what you're talking about. Like we've worked with some people who are coming from Instagram or TikTok first, and they're now like they want to make it a long form because that's the real game. Like welcome to the major leagues now. And they struggle because they don't know enough. They can't speak beyond just like the headlines, and they don't have a lot of practical experience. And so those like that's harder just to win at. But if you actually know what you're talking about, then to make a 10 to 15 minute video should not be a huge challenge with the right structure.
And the reality is, it doesn't have to be something that you did just for YouTube, right? I mean, TED Talks are one of the most popular things out there on YouTube, and they were done for the TED Talk. They weren't done for YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, how we almost always with business owners is what we call buyer breakthrough videos. And so the goal of that is to help our buyers make breakthroughs. So if you think about like in your business, for ideal clients, what's one of the most common questions that you get asked?
Most common would be, where do I find a good tax advisor?
Perfect. So like make a video called Where Do I Find a Good Tax Advisor? And that's a video that then you could talk for 10 to 15 minutes on or more if you need to.
Sure.
But so that video lives on YouTube. Anybody who's searching for that video or that keyword, you pop up, which is fantastic because those are your ideal clients looking for it. But then how many times have you had to answer that question over the years, Tom? It's crazy how many times you've had to answer that question. And now most people don't just get to you. They're emailing in, there's frontline staff, there's a receptionist who's answering the phone. There's like people, there's layers who you've probably trained how to answer that question. But now when somebody's calling in or emailing in to say, hey, like, how do I find a good tax attorney? Tax advisor. They have their script, but they can also then put in the video, an email or go watch his video to say, hey, but Tom also answered this question. Here's what Tom had to say about it. It also lives on your website. It also can be put in your emails. So the goal here is we're trying to build trust and help our leads convert to clients, almost regardless of how well it does on YouTube. That may not be your biggest video that you create, but in terms of generating deal flow for you, like that's a 7-8 figure video, which is incredibly high leverage for you. And so for the business owners, we'll typically start with, hey, buyer breakthrough videos. What are the top 20 to 40 questions that you've been asked over and over and over again? You have your answer down pat. You know how to answer that question. It's also an easier video to make because you're comfortable,
right?
Versus coming up with like the top 8 ways to blank. And now you got to think about the top 8 ways. what are the top questions that your prospects are asking you before they become clients, and turn that into content that lives on YouTube, that gets split up for all of the social platforms, but also lives on your website, in your email, in your follow-up sequences for your frontline staff, so that we can convert a lot more people to actually start buying from us. Because if we can make YouTube the number one way you're generating revenue, you'll invest a lot more time with it. Like, we only work with busy people. So it's got to work out besides just like, let's post a video and hope we get some views that leads to sales.
Okay, so I want to talk about how to maximize the views, but before we do, to start with that, you say first we have to have a breakthrough video, right? Customer breakthrough video. What's the question that people ask? But you said very early on, Evan, you said, okay, that first minute, if you can get them for the first minute, you've got them. So that's the hook. So how do you teach people how to develop that hook?
So powerful opinion, context sentence, raise the stakes. So we can work through it. Like, powerful opinion. What do you believe about finding a tax advisor that most people don't believe?
Well, what do I believe?
Yeah. Well, we're workshopping.
Oh yeah. Okay, great. I love this. That's what we did last time. I love Evan's always workshopping everything. This is what's great about watching Evan Carmichael. So I believe that it's the questions they ask, not the answers they give, that makes them different.
But so if the video is about finding a tax advisor,
so
what do you believe about?
So when you interview that tax advisor, so you're referred to a tax advisor, whatever, you find that tax advisor, you think they're good. Most people want to know, what questions should I ask? And what my answer is, it's irrelevant what questions you ask. Only thing that's relevant is what questions they ask you.
Great. Right. So like most tax advisors ask the wrong questions.
There you go. Most tax advisors most people ask the wrong questions.
Right. So then, okay, so now you said something that's like, that sounds weird. Even how you started that one's like, hey, most people want to know what questions to ask a tax advisor. That's the wrong question, period, right? Context sentence. The best question to ask is figuring out what questions they're asking you, right?
Right.
So context sentence. So powerful opinion, context sentence, then raise the stakes. It's like, what happens if I don't fix this? Like, if you don't learn how to find the right tax advisor, you're going to get blank. What happens?
You're going to pay high taxes. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get high taxes, high fees, and all you get is a tax return file. That's it.
Right. Which might cost you 7 or 8 figures in your business.
Yeah, it will. It is likely to cost you 20 years of your life.
Well, see, there you go. So powerful opinion. You just told me something that kind of hurts my brain. So context sentence to make a little more sense. Because everybody's asking this, like, no, you're focused on the wrong thing. That's not the right thing. People are asking, what questions do I ask a tax advisor? Like, that's the wrong thing. Now you just broke my brain a little bit, because that's not what I was expecting. So you give me a context sentence to make that make sense. And then you make it bigger. So you raise the stakes. So this isn't just about finding a tax advisor because this year's returns need to get done. This is about you losing the next 20 years of your life to the wrong advice. Right? Now, like, we've captured their attention and we made it, and I'm not trying to create fake urgency or fake.
No, it is what it is. It's real urgency. I mean, the reality is, do you want to be able to retire in 10 years, or do you want to retire in 50 years? That's the difference. Literally, so taxes are the difference between 10 and 50 years.
What I love about you, Tom, is you know how to speak into sound bites. It's great. Like, a lot of accountants I deal with is like, you're saying so many different sound bites that could all be used. It's fantastic. So you got that skill, or at least you honed it over the years. But there's a lot of those great examples just in there, right? Whether it's like save 20 years of your life, or like retire in 10 years versus 50. Like, people are coming in with this narrow perspective. And so we want to hit them with the question that they're asking, which is like, how do I find a tax advisor? But then we want to broaden the perspective, make it seem much bigger, or like make them realize that it actually is much bigger. This isn't just about filing this year's returns, guys. This is about retiring 10 years or 20 years earlier. It's a much bigger deal. So now you've hooked me. Like, you've said that in the first 3 sentences of a video. I was like, whoa, I need to pay attention to what's happening here. Then usually story. So tell me a story, like your story, client story. You don't have to say names. unless they've officially said it's okay for you to name drop kind of thing. Story in the media, but some kind of story, because we connect through stories more than facts. All you want to do is teach, but people will not listen to the advice until they feel emotionally connected to what you're saying. So the 3-sentence hook is to capture the attention. The story gets me emotionally connected, and then you can give me advice. So you go now, like if you think about how is this a 10 to 15 minute video, it's pretty easy. Like the intro is not that long, but then the story could be a couple minutes long. Then we're going to give 3 pieces of advice. Each of those is a couple minutes long. Now we have a 10 to 15, like how do you do that in 5 minutes? Like it's not possible. You have to be just speaking sound bites. So the 3 things I need to do to then find the right tax advisor, and then ideally somewhere in there between advice 1 and 2 is something that connects to our business. So you have a download, you have a book, you have a lead capture somewhere that say, and if you need help with these things, we have a program that helps you do that. I have a free download talking about the 8 ways or the 8 questions or the 8 whatever, that then we capture their email and put them on our email list, give them the value. Now they're in our system.
Right.
The framework itself doesn't have to be super complicated. You don't need to have a full script. Again, it depends on like how good are you at the thing. Like if you had to give 3 pieces of advice on finding the right tax advisor, just bullets, no story. Like what would the 3 things be that I need to know to find the right tax advisor?
So number 1, never hire a relative.
Okay. Okay. Which like 90% of people do. Okay. Keep going.
Okay. Number 2, you want strong opinions, right? Okay.
Yeah. It's great.
And number 2, it's not the answers they give, it's the questions they ask. That's okay. Number 2. Mm-hmm. And number 3 is how far are they looking? Are they looking at this year?
Got it.
Next year, or the rest of your life?
Perfect. So like when I'm doing a video script with someone who knows what they're talking about, it fits on a sticky note.
Got it.
So we did our 3-sentence intro, right? You nailed that. Story, it's just a trigger point, like Dr. Smith.
Oh,
and then
can I tell you a story? So this is a great story. So okay. it really is a good story about finding the right tax advisor. So, I met Robert Kiyosaki in 2001 when I bought a CPA firm. He was a client of that CPA firm, and we worked together for a few years. And then he brought a new team in. They brought their team in. I left. So I'm going back. This is about 2008, 2009. And I'm actually wanting to get back with Robert because I think he's not going to be well served with these people. Those people have left. I want to get back in. So he's got this big firm handling this audit for him. So this is all public. Okay. So I'm not telling you anything that he hasn't told multiple times from stage. So he's got this audit going, and I'm looking at this and I'm going, well, wait a minute, this doesn't look right. I mean, this is a big firm, big national firm. The audit assessment was over $2 million. And I said to Robert, would you mind if I took a look at that? And he said, no, sure. And Robert's a great client, by the way. So I took a look at it. I met with a tax attorney, so it's a team approach. And we went through this. Robert hired us to go through it. And the end result was he ended up with a tax bill of $54,000, which we got back the next year in a refund. So
let's go.
We went from 2 million to 54,000, and then that 54,000 came back the next year. So it's like, this was a huge win. Robert's been my client ever since.
Ever since. It makes sense. Right? Okay. So what would the next step be for somebody watching that video? What do we want them to do? Like, do you have a download? Is there an ebook?
Yeah. So typically we'd have them do a download. Or we'd have them come to a webinar, right? We want to do one of those 2 things. We give them a download, but sign up for a free webinar.
Got it. Okay.
Because if I get them in a webinar, now I've got a captured audience and now I can sell them.
Got it. Okay, so here's how I would structure that video, right? We start with the opinion, right? Like stop asking questions to your tax advisors. That's weird.
Yep.
It's not what questions you ask them, it's the questions that they ask you.
Yep.
If you get the wrong tax advisor, you'll end up retiring in 50 years instead of 10. Right? That's
Yep.
our intro. Then on the sticky note, you're just writing Robert Kiyosaki, 2 million to 54K.
Yep.
You could tell that story. Like you don't need a whole script to tell that
Right.
story.
No.
But you just need to kind of remember what story you're going to tell so that when you
Right.
go on camera, you're not kind of deer in a
Right.
headlight trying to figure something out. Great. We told the story. Now, what do? There's three things that you need to do to make sure that you get the right tax advisor. Number one, never hire a relative. And then you can talk about that. You don't need to script that out. Talk. Number two, pay attention to the questions that they ask you, right? Talk about that. Before we move on to number three, then you say, and to figure out to know if they're asking you the right questions or not, we do webinars where we explain all this to people. There's a link in the description below to go sign up for our next webinar. I hope to see you there. We're tying the CTA to the point that we just made, right? Yep. And then point number three is how far are they looking? Are they asking you just about this year's tax return? Are we looking like 10, 20 years? Are we talking like generational that we're trying to create for people? We're talking about our great grandkids now, right? So that I wrote this like just 7 sentences, 7 lines on a notepad file in front of me here. That's a 20-minute video that captures attention.
Makes sense. Mm-hmm.
That tells a story that establishes our expertise and trust, right? Like you work with Robert Kiyosaki. That's cool. Like I may not know, I know that, but somebody brand new to the channel may not know that. And it generates leads for our business because we're getting people onto a webinar in a way that just makes sense. Like if I want to know what the questions are that they should be asking me, join the webinar or get my free download. And so we're getting people off of YouTube and now into our system.
Into our database. Right. I mean, it's all about database, right? I mean,
100%. Yeah.
Meta taught us that, right? It's all about database. Meta and Google, they taught us it's all about database, right? That's how they've made their billions. So now you want to get it out there. So there's some that will come naturally because people will find you, et cetera. How important and how valuable is it to actually do paid advertising to boost your YouTube channel?
So in terms of getting it out there, there's different kinds of videos that fit different buckets. So this was a buyer breakthrough video. We're answering the most common questions people have. I care less about that one going, it's not really engineered to go viral, but anybody who does search it is an ideal. I'm searching, how do I find a tax advisor? That's a pretty qualified person who's like typing that in,
right?
But it's not like designed for the masses. So those would be what we call growth videos. What has done well. And now usually this is where a challenge for someone like you, because usually to do the viral videos, the growth videos that we call them, you have to dumb it down and talk to non-ideal clients. Yeah. Which might be a goal, but that's where everybody has to kind of draw the line, because if you made a video about investing $10 million versus investing $1,000, the $1,000 always does better because it's targeting more people.
Right. Right.
But they don't hire you.
Right. But they'll, I think it's always good to get that. I've had a couple of really big viral videos. One was on Donald Trump's tax return. That was like, I did a TikTok that did 1 million views in less than 24 hours on that one when that came out. Another one that I did was on Robert Kiyosaki saying that he was $1 billion in debt, and me explaining why he's $1 billion in debt, how that actually works. Why would you even do that? And that one has been actually continues to be a big, gets more views all the time. So that's a kind of one of those that goes viral and then stays viral, right? Just because the topic is people are scared to death of debt, right? And why are they scared of debt? So I mean, to me, that's a video. Why are you afraid of debt? What's got you afraid of debt? Because it's the most powerful tool in your investment toolbox is debt.
Yeah, people don't know about debt. Like
people are scared to death. I mean, you got people that spend the Susie Ormans of the world spend their whole career talking about the evils of debt, right? And so now you got, well, wait a minute, what about all the benefits of debt? right? Somebody's
Because
making
people
money on
think,
all that debt, right? You may be losing money on your debt, but somebody's making money. If you're losing money, somebody's making money. It always goes that way.
and people think consumer debt and they
Yeah,
think credit cards.
they do.
And yes, like
They
you are
do.
not out here advocating go max out your credit cards to buy the
Exactly.
Chanel bag or whatever, right?
Right.
It's like we're using it in our business to strategically grow and save taxes.
That's right.
Right. And just people
Right.
don't learn that. We're
That's right.
not taught that,
That's right.
which is why, like, again, Robert loves to say the best teachers are on YouTube. He said that a whole bunch of times, which is true. Like the stuff that you teach
No
on YouTube,
question.
you're not get people are not getting where are they getting information? They're not getting that in the high school system and university system.
Nope.
Like they're coming to YouTube when they hear Tom talking about how to save money with debt and taxes. Like it's great. Um,
So
so
let's go back. Let's go back to kind of pushing that out. So let's say you do want just more eyes, because of course you get more eyes. Then what do you get? You also get advertising revenue, right? So you can actually make money on YouTube, which actually allows you to have more money to put into more advertising to get more views. Because really, what we're looking for is reach, right? We have competence, and if we don't, frankly, go on TikTok. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's my view. If you're not competent, do TikTok. I'm not saying that there aren't competent people doing TikTok. I'm saying there are a lot of incompetent people that can only do TikTok because they can't do more than 30 seconds because that's all the content they've got. And there's a lot of scams out there in the short form. Okay, I think there's a lot fewer scams in the long form video. So, but you're talking about you do want to boost that viewership. Let's make that a given. Okay, no matter what your business is, right? You want to boost the viewership. I mean, me, yes, we may be looking, me and my franchisees, we may be looking for a particular type of client, the entrepreneur, but a lot of people who are watching have, retail customers. So they want to boost this to the retail customer. So what type of paid advertising actually works to get YouTube viewership boosted?
nothing that's incredibly effective, unfortunately. So, and the way to track this is one, just make sure you're going to have the right demo. So if you're going to do paid ads on the video, make sure it's still like United States within this demo, with this age group. We're looking for these keywords, right? So at least we're kind of in the ballpark. The challenge with paid ads is the retention is usually terrible on the video, and it starts to bring in the wrong people on the channel. And we've seen that over and over and over again. The most effective way to use paid ads, and we've helped a ton of people on this side, is the people who are already doing a lot of direct response ads in the Google environment, the ability to retarget people. So anybody who's watched your video for the past 540 days, you can retarget them with an ad. And it just dramatically drops your CAC, your cost of acquisition, because you're not hitting a cold audience anymore. You're hitting somebody who has already seen your video. And so a lot of the big name direct marketers that you and I, both know, they hit a plateau on their ad spending because they keep the colder and colder you go, the more and more expensive it gets, and it doesn't ROI positive. But if you can retarget your organic audience, even if they just watch one video, they're way warmer because they at least recognize the face that's talking to them now. Sure. And so their goal becomes, I need organic to do as well as possible so that I can spend crazy money on retargeting them because I know they're going to buy from me. So the pitch never happens in the organic videos. The pitch happens once you get the email address and you're selling them afterwards, but also retargeting paid ads towards anybody you could do viewed your video, subscribed to your channel, liked the video in the past 540 days. You could do more target if you want, past 30 days, past year, whatever. And then hit them with a direct message to say, hey, if you're looking for blank, we have a free webinar coming up next week talking about blank. You saw the video. I'd love for you to join us here. Watch your cost of acquisition drop tremendously compared to doing cold ads.
Interesting. What other recommendations do you have for somebody just starting out and they're trying to get their message out, trying to get that reach? They're not, they're not YouTubers, right? Yep. They haven't been speaking on platforms, but they have a message, and it's an important message. I truly believe that anybody has a message that's important enough to create a business on has an obligation to get that message out, because if you what you sell is valuable, okay, and it's not pet rocks, right? But even pet rocks were valuable to us when I was a kid because we thought, hey, that's cool, it's a pet rock. You know, my grandchildren have pet rocks. They're just electronic pet rocks now, right? But they're still pet rocks. All right. So if I have something that's valuable, I mean, particularly a message like yours, Evan, then you need to get it out. I think I think you have a moral obligation to get it out. So how do what are two or three things? This is fabulous structure. Thank you so much, Evan. What are two or three things you suggest to people to get started on it and to really get going with it?
So I usually don't recommend starting aiming for reach, mostly because it's the hardest game to win. And if you're just getting started, you probably aren't great on camera yet. And it's going to take the longest to pay off. Like I complimented you earlier with like, you're coming up with all these one-liners. I'm sure you weren't that good 20 years ago. Like you've honed this craft over the years, right?
A lot of practice.
It's really hard for somebody who has a business to run to be able to do that effectively and just the longest payout. So if you have a long-term horizon, yes. And I usually try to find, just being practical, how do we make money faster because we're entrepreneurs? And what are the best formats to do that? We already talked about the buyer breakthrough videos, which is the top 20 to 40 questions. Like start with that. It's way easier. The second thing would be the Biz Dev show, where now it's a podcast where you bring on people who are ideal clients or referral partners to you.
Got it.
So depending on how much the deal is worth, like if you're selling six-figure deals, you want to talk to ideal potential clients. If you're selling $50 whatevers, one at a time doesn't work. You need the people who can influence those people, right? But for your advisors, like the best business comes from relationships and referrals. If my advisor tells me to go talk to this person, I at least give them the benefit of the doubt to say, hey, I got a referral from blank. So how do you start building those relationships? Well, the easiest way to do it is with a podcast. They don't want to pick your brain. They don't want you to take them to lunch, but they'll come on your show because you're edifying them. And that video will likely not get a ton of views. Like, who's an ideal referral partner for most of your clients?
For most of my referral partner for most of my clients. Oh, so like, for example, I would say somebody in life insurance, financial planning.
Yeah, perfect, right? So if I'm selling tax advisory services, someone who sells life insurance might be a great referral partner for me, right? And probably like local area, somebody who's in the same geographic area as me, right? Great. Nobody wants to listen to an interview of a life insurance agent, right? Like this going to be a pretty boring interview. But life insurance agent is also probably trying to grow her personal brand too. Nobody's ever interviewed them before. You're not trying to get Robert Kiyosaki on your show. You're trying to get Jill Smith, a top life insurance agent in Phoenix, Arizona. She's way more likely to come on your show because she's never been on anybody's show before, because nobody wants to talk to her. She knows she needs to build her personal brand, and you're helping do it for free.
Right.
And what you've done now is lead with a give, because all of these tax advisors are like, hey, let's meet up, but you're saying, I want to profile and promote you. Right. And so the whole point is to build the relationship with somebody who might be able to send 7 figures worth of business to us every year. And then once the show is done, we obviously post it. We give it to her that she can use on her website, social media, etc. Like when somebody goes to her website, we want that video there, which helps her. It also helps us. Now we're being shown to all these people going to her website, and chances are her video, like she has no videos because life insurance marketing sucks. They don't know what they're doing either.
Right.
But then the ask afterwards would be, hey, I'd love to be a second opinion on any tax deals that are coming through, just to see if I can provide some input. They already have a number one. Probably. Like if they don't have a number one, you're not talking to the right people. You don't want some startup life insurance agent who doesn't know anything about taxes, right? Like they're not going to send you ideal clients. I'd love to be a second opinion on any deals that are coming through. And maybe they have one. Maybe their main person is on vacation or whatever else. And like they throw you something. And then it comes down to, can you actually help, right? Like now you have to actually be good. If you're a second opinion on a deal, is your second opinion even good? right? If you have nothing to contribute, then you're not getting that deal. If you're actually good, you'll get the deal. So it's just a way to turbocharge relationships, and relationships in trust-based businesses is the number one way to grow. And so the Biz Dev show, imagine you did that. We call it the Money 50 list. Who are these 50 people that could be worth 6 or 7 figures per year to your business? You interview one of them per week for the year. What does that do to your business? Not all of them convert, obviously, but the relationships become incredibly valuable. If you did that for the year, that series will likely be the worst performing series on your channel. Interviewing life insurance brokers is going to be terrible views wise, but business wise,
Yeah.
it could 10x your business, right?
For sure.
So that's how we usually think about it at the start. Biz Dev show, buyer breakthrough videos, they don't need to get a lot of views. We're using it to help grow our business. If it's to the spirit of the question, then though, like I need to grow, like how do I get more reach? Now we're focused on growth videos, which is like top 8 ways to blank, culture videos, which is like Donald Trump tax return, whatever. Those have like a high peak, but then fall off, right? Where the Robert Kiyosaki's $1 billion in debt has a much longer shelf life than Trump's tax returns from 8 years ago or whatever. And then viral hits videos where we're looking at things that have done well in other niches, but haven't been done in ours yet that we can model. So when I'm working with somebody, I always try to figure out what are we trying to accomplish? Because your goal is not just to be an influencer. We're trying to grow our business, but like what does success look like? And then design a content strategy that helps support them. For the most cases in business owners, if they're just getting started, it's the Biz Dev podcast, it's the buyer breakthrough videos. If somebody already has some videos under their belt, now we're looking at growth videos. Now we're looking at viral hits videos. Now we're looking at culture videos. And then the science within all of those about how long are the videos? What is the hook? What is the thumbnail title combination? And how often are we making content?
So that's my final question for you.
Okay.
How often should you be making content? Because
once a week.
This is what people are worried about. Oh my heavens, I don't have time for this. How much time should you plan that you're going to need to devote to this to make it work?
Yeah. So minimum once a week is what we want to be releasing. It doesn't mean you have to film every week. Like we only work with busy entrepreneurs who their goal is not to be an influencer. They're trying to grow their impact and their business. They just recognize that brand is the number one way they're growing their business. Right. So the goal becomes, how do we make YouTube and our brand the number one source of lead generation for our business? Because if we make that happen, you'll suddenly find more time to do this. Right. If you're making videos that go nowhere, like you're done. But if it's like we get sales every time we do this, magically you're going to find more time to do this. Right. So once a week is your minimum production schedule, but you can do that all in a couple hours a month. Right. Like if you sat down for 2 hours once a month, that can give you 4 videos that you have that are released once a week for the month. So there's a base level of commitment. And that's what we usually work at is like, okay, give me 2 to 4 hours every month of focused time, and let's get it all done within there. Apart from the relationships, like if you're doing the Biz Dev show, the Biz Dev podcast with some big life insurance advisor, and they're only available like this Thursday at 3 p.m., like you should probably go meet them this Thursday at 3 p.m. Like it's probably just a good thing for your business, right? And so when people say, well, how much time should I spend on it? Well, how many relationships do you want to have that will help you grow your business? Like it's what else are you doing marketing wise that has a higher potential ROI than meeting ideal referral partners who can send you 6 or 7 figures per year in business? Right? We just need to prove it. So just in terms of making the content, the solo videos, I'd say once a week is our goal minimum. If you're at once a week, then we're trying to go 3 times a week. If you're at 3 times a week, it's ambitions to go daily, but now we're focused a lot more on the quality and the analytics and the data to be able to play off of, as opposed to just putting videos up. Cool.
All right, Evan. So where, outside the obvious, go to YouTube, look up Evan Carmichael. Where can people find more about what you do and actually how to connect with you?
Yeah, I mean, the channel has a lot of content in terms of what we sell. Movement Makers is our training program where I guide business owners through this process. And then Brandlytics is our YouTube software that we use for channels to help them identify the videos that are underperforming on their channel that should do better, and then helping them run tests to improve the results.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Evan. We've been with Evan Carmichael, who I think of as the king of YouTube. And it's been absolutely, as always, Evan, you're You're the best. I love the way you workshop things. I love the way you put people on the spot, like your host. That is awesome.
I knew you'd be down for it. I knew you'd be good.
Totally good. I'm totally
Yeah,
good for that. I'm totally good with that. Fortunately, it worked. So that's always good, right? So failures work too. So, but no, it's always good. And just remember, everyone, when you do have to have reach in order to have customers. Without reach, you have no customers. So whether it's the Biz Dev Show, whether it's YouTube to broader audiences, you want to. One of my proudest moments when I saw a TikTok video of a 16-year-old promoting my book, Tax Free Wealth. I thought, that's awesome. I'm good with that kind of TikTok video. Somebody else can do it. But whatever it is, just remember that YouTube, long form content YouTube, and if you really want the expert on that, that's Evan Carmichael. And when you do these things, you're always going to make way more money and pay way less tax. We'll see you next time on the WealthAbility Show. Thanks for listening to the WealthAbility Show. If today's episode gave you a new perspective, remember this: the tax law is not your enemy. It's a roadmap. And when you know how to follow it, you can build real, lasting wealth. If you're a business owner or investor who's tired of overpaying taxes, the WealthAbility Accelerator is your next step. You'll have the opportunity to work directly with me for 80% less than my standard rate. And I'll personally guide you through how to change your facts so that you can change your tax. Go to wealthability.com/bonus and apply today. Remember, it's not just what you make, it's what you keep.
This podcast is a presentation of Rich Dad Media Network.